A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for finding time to join us today on the Medley Show. You know that if you are tuned in, the next 1 hour is going to be very, very interesting, engaging, and guess what? I have a very, very interesting conversation for you today. So I'm someone who loves traveling. Whether it's within the city where I live or outside the city or maybe outside the country. I mean, just explore, have adventures, and live a good life. Who doesn't love a good life? And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Today we want to dive into the world of tourism. Yes, whether it's local tourism, tourism within the country, or tourism outside the country. Yeah, that's all we're going to be talking about today. And I have the very, very perfect person for this conversation. I'm sure you're ready to meet my guest. So we're doing it a little differently today. I'm going to let you meet my guest first before we get to bring you the other features and reports that we put together to spice up the show a little bit more. So are you ready? Yes, I'm super excited. Today I have in the studio Chief Folorunsho Koka. He is the Director General of Nigeria Tourism Development Authority. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
I see you're smiling, so you're as excited as I am to have you in my studio today. So we're going to be talking tourism, and I don't even need to ask you if you like traveling, because if you're heading that agency, you should love traveling.
Absolutely.
So how much do you travel? Let me start with that.
Quite a bit. Nationally, I think I've been to almost all the states, maybe 3 or 4 I haven't been to.
Okay.
So I move around nationally. Internationally, there are UNWTO meetings, which as affiliate member we must attend.
Okay.
And sometimes I have represented even my boss at some of those meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Outside that, every occasion I get, I try and go somewhere new. I like food, so sometimes I go where there's something I've always wanted to eat. I go there. Yes,
So besides
generally,
traveling for work,
I
I want to hear the parts where you actually travel for fun, for adventure. You go mountain climbing, you go hiking, you know, that kind of...
Life is dangerous enough for me not to go mountain climbing and all those things.
Okay,
so,
maybe when you do all that.
I like boating, I like water, I like beaches. So sometimes I have been to the Far East simply, just to spend time doing that. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I said we're already going to have fun having this conversation today, talking about tourism in Nigeria. So before we get into the conversation, let's bring you something we called tourism economy. When we come back, the conversation will continue. And of course, I'll get to open my phone lines. Welcome back. This is still the Medley Show. If you are just joining us, you haven't missed so much, so you're just in time for a very, very great conversation. So today, we're diving into the world of tourism, and I do have in the studio the Director General of Nigeria Tourism Development Authority, Chief Folorunsho Koka. So I also said I was going to open my phone line, so I'm opening it immediately. The number is 0913-8989-550. So send your messages and share your experiences, some of your favorite tourist site, whether in the world, anywhere in the world, in Nigeria, and then we'll get to talk about it on the show, okay? So, Chief Koka, let's start this way. Besides NTDA, there are several other tourism arms in Nigeria. But let me help our viewers to follow our conversation today. So let's paint a clear picture of what NTDA does, so as to, follow the tone of our conversation.
Thank you. NTDA is the apex agency for promoting Nigeria internally and externally. So we are the chief marketing arm of the Nigerian government for promoting Nigeria. You have other agencies that contribute to that, the Ministry of Information, National Orientation Agency.
Right.
So that we all have one common goal, which is promote the image of Nigeria internally as well as externally.
Okay.
Keep people informed about what is available here, counter some of the negatives that Nigeria is always being demarketed with. Our focus over the last few years has been to grow the domestic tourism market.
Right.
It is 6 times the size of the international. We're a country of
6 times.
6 times.
Right.
We're a country of 200 million people. So our own consumption alone is bigger than the consumption of certain countries when it comes to people movement within transportation, entertainment, and hospitality. The definition of tourism is what we always need to be careful about. There's business tourism, there's religious tourism, there's culinary tourism, there's fashion tourism, there's film tourism, there's music tourism. But when you say tourism, people just think it's only about lying down on a lovely beach, sipping a Malta or a Coca-Cola. It's a lot more than that. Nigeria is also an oil economy, so the amount of business tourism. Yesterday was the beginning, I think, of the oil and gas week in Abuja here. There were people who I hadn't seen in months, who I saw or I heard from, because they had all come to Abuja for the oil and gas conference. A lot of people don't count that as tourism, but it is tourism.
Okay, so you're going to help us understand today that tourism is way beyond. I mean, I think I once heard you say that if you go from your house to the market, that is tourism as well. No. So moving from point A to point B is tourism. If you're going somewhere new, learning something new, meeting new people, that counts for tourism. Okay, but I want to know, what is the current state? Like, I want to get a clear view of the current state of tourism in Nigeria, that sector, the tourism sector in Nigeria. Where are we? Because from all you said, it sounds like it should be a gold mine.
It is,
okay.
But let me answer that question.
Okay.
We asked for a Ministry of Tourism. I wrote several articles in the newspapers as a serving public officer, speaking to that issue, that there is a need for a stand-alone Ministry of Tourism. We got a Ministry of Tourism. With that came a Minister of Tourism. Okay. So we have a voice in the Executive Council speaking to the President and members of the Executive Council about our issues in tourism. Tourism depends on quite a few other ministries, for customs, foreign affairs, police, immigration, all sorts of people need to be following the same direction, on the same page.
If tourism has to work.
If tourism is to work. So we got a minister, we got a ministry. We are supposed to have a presidential council on tourism, which is all the stakeholders who will now have a special meeting with the president, where the president understands the presentations of the unique problems of tourism and gives global instructions on them. For example, at the airport, the president can say, I only want a single handling of passports. Everybody else should go and read off the back end of what the single handler of your passport has seen and put into the computers. So there's no need for multiple agencies. In terms of security, is there a need for all these security agencies? What does that do to the arrival or departure experience of a traveler?
Course, yeah.
So the president can say, I want one special, one of the security agencies to provide the cover for all security agencies. So you're not dealing with multiple people going through your bags and things like that. So tourism has that need. There is also the issue of funding. Funding for tourism has been wholly inadequate. Marketing is one thing that requires funding. If you don't fund marketing.
Chief Cook, I'm going to quote you here, and this is why. You've gotten as far as the challenge is now. I don't want to talk about that now, right? But we're going to get to that part. But at this moment, I want to know where we are when it comes to the sector of tourism in Nigeria. Okay. The growth, where are we? How much is the beauty of Nigeria known globally, even by Nigerians in Nigeria? So that's what I want to know.
For me to answer that in any with any percentages would be wrong. I think Nigeria has become more popular post-COVID, pre-COVID, and even more so post-COVID, with the mediums of cultural expression that drives the cultural identity of a Nigerian.
Okay.
Okay. The music of Nigeria, the film of Nigeria, even the politics of Nigeria,
sure.
the culinary diversity that we have. Nigeria has never been more popular, and more so with the mediums of cultural exchange that I mentioned, that is projecting a totally different image of Nigeria from what the travel advisory services say to you about Nigeria. I mentioned two things that are different and current. That is the standalone ministry, the minister. There's also a new law, a new tourism law. Nigeria's archaic laws have been changed. The new law is not draconian. It's by collaboration, not competition. It's by a handshake rather than a big stick in terms of collaborations with state governments and the other tourism stakeholders. We have a very important organization in tourism called the Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria, FTAN. FTAN is an association of associations. So that is the bulk of the private sector that is now coming into this. In our new law, we have the Tourism Development Fund, which is where the taxes that are collected in the name of tourism are supposed to accrue and now be administered by a tourism development board, sitting down on a tourism development fund that will now specifically look at the issues that have to do with tourism that require some government participation in terms of finance and can do more than NTDA can do alone. There's a National Travel Bureau which has been there but has now been enshrined in law, which means that NTDA can offer, especially government agencies, quality tourism services, from tour operations to advisory services to actually, helping build products for those associations. Those are radical and quantum leap changes that have occurred within that ecosystem. Then you will agree with me that transportation, hospitality, and entertainment, for want of a better expression, are pretty gangster industries. We have forged a very fragile peace that we are trying to work together. It's not easy to get people who are pretty much silo operators. This is my territory, this is my own, and I'm going to stay with it, and nobody can tell me what to do. It's pretty difficult to get them to come together to speak to the common issues between all of us and the centrality of our focus, which is to grow tourism in Nigeria.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned grow tourism in Nigeria because Nigeria is beautiful. We can't deny that. There's so many things that make our country a very beautiful place. But what I want to know now is, I want to get your own vision of the future of Nigerian tourism. I mean, we're seeing where we are at the moment, but what is your vision for this sector?
I'll start with growth. We have
growth in what way? I want to know where you want to see growth.
Growth in every aspect of tourism. Let me try and break it down.
Okay.
If we look at sub-Saharan Africa, most of the countries there don't have a quarter of what Nigeria has in terms of what you grow tourism with. We've got the traditional, cultural, we've got the landscape, we've got the ecotourism, we've got the music tourism, we've got the film tourism, we've got the fashion tourism, we've got the religious tourism. I mean, Nigeria is a mecca in terms of both religions, of all three religions in Africa. Although Fa is in Ekpe, the Redeemed Christian Church of Christ has more branches than the Nigerian embassy has embassies around the world. They have their conventions, everybody from around the world comes to Redeem headquarters for prayer. So what is stopping that growth? I see that growth. It is possible. But what is stopping it?
You tell me.
Good. I know there's a question that you have asked and you're going to ask again. A lot of it is image. A lot of it is consistency in terms of the policies that face the multiple gateways that tourism goes through. Some of it is funding, financing of, not the Ministry of Tourism or anything, but some of those things. Tourism is very sensitive to the interest rate. It needs single-digit interest rates for it to be happy. The minute it goes into the 20s and the 30s, tourism is one of those things that shrinks. One of the things that's playing very well for us right now is the rate, our exchange rate. It's painful for Nigerians to change naira into dollars to go and spend in an expensive economy. Nigeria is your cheapest holiday. This is the time for you to bring $1 and get maybe $5 worth of value for it. While the other, the cheapest burger in America, in Europe, is maybe $3. $3 is 4,500 naira. That's 2 meals.
Okay.
Those growth indices, those growth nodes, those things that are there for us to use to accelerate the growth of our tourism is what my focus and hope is, that will grow tourism. I'll give you one simple thing. Look at our musicians.
Right.
They go abroad, they play in the same stadiums like Abuja Stadium, National Stadium, Akpabio Stadium, Sani Abacha Stadium, the same kind of stadiums, but weaponized for their benefit.
Is it really the same kind of stadium?
When I say it's a stadium, they may not
stage
be.
Is the stage.
Ours has not been weaponized for music. It's still being kept for football.
For sports,
but imagine with a token investment, for example, in Abuja Stadium, what is possible? You give music a home. You give these artists that are going, they've all gone off now because the rates they're earning are so out of the reach of the average Nigerian. But you give music a home. You give film a home, maybe in National Theatre. You give the spoken word a home, maybe in National Theatre, maybe in Nikon Museum. Then you start to see the perfect storm of these things coming into play with tourism. Tourism is a coalition of those possibilities to create a growth, and that growth is in the interest of government, in employment. Tourism, for example, employs about 300 million, especially women and the youth. It's an almost $9 trillion global turnover that just shoots over Africa. Why not us? Why not 6 hours from London, 8 hours from America?
Okay. We're going to get into all the whys, but right now we're going to go to the streets, and we spoke to a few people, and this is what they told us is their dream destination when it comes to exploring the world. Watch this, and the conversation will continue right back.
The Medley Show. The Medley Show.
The Medley Show.
I would like to go to National Stadium because I've been hearing most things about that place, and I would like to know how the place is and see how the environment is.
I would like to visit Kano State, Salbas, based on the way I hear the story and based on the way they live the life, so that I will know more things about Kano State.
I wish to go to Lagos because I just love the place, the environment. So I wish to go there.
Where exactly in Lagos do you have in mind?
Not really. But till then.
I wish to go to Edo State. Because the place is fun. I love the place. I love the way the people live their lives there.
Where exactly in Edo do you have any place in mind, or?
Okay, I'll say Benin. I've seen Benin City, yes. Benin City. The National Stadium. National Stadium, yes. The place is cool. I love it.
Okay. I wish to go to Lagos because aside being a journalist, I also want to be an actor, to shoot movies and write stories. So being to Lagos, I think it's one of the places that mostly actors used to shoot movies there, and I like the environment and everything about it.
I wish to go to Aba to learn more about what I want to do, like a production, I want to produce how to make palm very well, to learn more and educate myself well there.
Okay.
The Medley Show. The Medley Show.
The Medley Show. Welcome back, and those were views from the streets. It's actually very interesting to hear the fact that you're given an option as to where you want to go to in the entire world, and everyone has a response for somewhere in Nigeria. I mean, DG, how does that make you feel, first of all?
It has restored my hope in the people of the Federal Republic of
You should be
Nigeria.
expecting to hear like Canada, Cyprus, the Americas.
No, people are facing a new reality, the reality of 2024. What is the hope of any of them getting a visa, being able to afford an airline ticket to go to those places? One of the people there said, I would like to go to Aba. I want to go and learn how things are made.
Nice.
That is such a beautiful statement for me, because that is not even okay, there's a bit of tourism in it, but the purpose of it is knowledge, it's technology, it's production. And those are young Nigerians.
Yeah. Okay, do remember that you can send us your messages to 09138989550. We'll get to read them on the show. You know, this brings me to my next question. We've seen a huge rise in domestic tourism recently. I mean, you go on the internet, social media, you see a lot of people posting different places in Nigeria that they visited and they had fun, and they're encouraging everyone else to go to the place, whether it's a restaurant, it's a new park, a new water park, just something new. So I want to know now, like, do you have strategies? I mean, it looks like we're making the work easy for you already. We're doing it. Your work is promotional, but we are doing a lot of those promotions.
Thank you.
So I want to know, are there strategies that you have in place to, you know, make domestic tourism the in thing for more for Nigerians? I mean, we heard a lot of them being interested in going to places in Nigeria, but that's just a few.
Technology has played a very big part in our realities in tourism, especially post-COVID. Digital marketing on the social media handles, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all those things, the demography of Nigeria, you know, the young, digitally connected, highly mobile,
Right.
all that speaks to the growth of tourism. But there have been some roadblocks. How much is a ticket to Ghana now? It's a cool $500,000. How much are you doing to Ghana? How much is your hotel? So affordability is now, but COVID also helped us look inwards.
Inwards, right.
You didn't, the barriers to travel, visa restrictions, etc., set the mood for us to look inwards. And then the fear of the disease. You didn't want to go somewhere and then they close the borders on you. All that helped us look inwards and focus on what do we have? How far away is it? Do I need a visa to go and see it? Do I need to buy an airline ticket? Do I need to change my small naira to dollar to go and see it? No. Therefore, they started discovering Nigeria. Then there's a new group of tourism experts, I have to call them, who are purely in the digital realm. They don't have any offices. Yeah. They have a phone, an iPad, a MacBook. They curate experiences.
Experiences.
They curate them and digitally market them to Nigerians. I always say something that Nigerians love Nigerians, but they don't know Nigeria. Now, these digital tourism entrepreneurs have now started creating packages that you can buy online, show up in a place, boom, they take you on a curated experience from Olumo Rock to the dunes of Yobe to the Osho-Oshobo and the Ojude Oba, which, you know, threw up our favorite steeds. That is a significant amount of the growth that we have seen in the last few years in terms of domestic tourism. But I also believe that there is so much more capacity in terms of where and how that growth occurred. Take Cross Rock here in Abuja. A lot of people would like to see it like those people we saw on TV coming into Abuja just to experience this thing, because it's a kind of unique man-made feature. What is there? It's just a hole in the ground with water.
With water.
Now, what can you use to accelerate the consumption of that asset for us in Abuja here? Give it decent conveniences like we could use in any mall. Put a cell site that, you know, we become very insecure, like when your battery goes down or you have no cell, no signal, you become a bit worried, especially about security, etc. Allow a few businesses to sell, you know, simple things, a bottle of water, maybe a souvenir shop to do some souvenirs there. All of those things to put there to generate revenue, to generate employment, all of those things, as simple as it is. Do that for Katampi Hill, do that for the Children's Zoo. What does that translate into? It's token investment to accelerate the consumption of what is nearly a moribund asset.
I'm glad you mentioned Crush Rock because, like you said, it's a man-made. It wasn't like it came up naturally. We all know the story of Crush Rock. And you're mentioning all the things that could have been done to make it a lot better. But I want to talk about promotion. Yeah. How has NTDA put in place any promotional strategies to let us know places like that exist? Because I feel like when it's on the map a lot, when you talk about it a lot and we're seeing the beauty, if we're seeing all that, perhaps what you're asking for will just come up there.
We have two brands we created in 2017, Tour Nigeria and Nigerian Flavors.
Yeah,
they have a digital footprint of 10.9 million. I cannot print enough paper to hand out. I cannot pay for adverts on NTA to reach 10 million people for the cost of how I've reached 10 million people. Now, advertising has changed. Promotion has changed.
True.
You try something like...
You mentioned digital.
Digital is the new...
Yeah.
If you don't embrace disruptive digital technology, it will destroy you. Look at the cameras you're using now. I've been coming here for 8 years. I've never seen such great cameras. Congratulations on your wonderful new studio as well. So if we're talking about...
You have to go there.
Yeah, if we're talking about digital, you understand the difference in terms of the quality of what you put out, how you put it out, how far it reaches by the fact of the simple investment in appropriate digital technologies for NTA. So if I go to Tour Nigeria, Nigerian Flavors on all the social media handles,
all there.
I have Facebook certified civil servants working on these handles. Now, currently, I've got Standards Organization of Nigeria training in my office for ISO 9001.
Nice.
I'm not CAC, I'm not FIRS, I'm not CBN, but I'm trying to get us to build a platform, a solid foundation of domestic tourism, digitally driven, powered by all our mediums of cultural expression, for somebody to come and grow the skyscrapers of tourism on. Without that foundation of operating like a technology company in the tourism space, it's near impossible for you to sustain anything that you grow in this ecosystem.
Okay. So for a while now, we've been talking about making Nigeria beautiful to Nigerians, but we cannot erase the fact that we also have international tourists. We also have people come from outside the country to come and see Nigeria. But you've mentioned business tourism, religious tourism, so they're coming for a reason. So how do we make the beauty of our country the reason why they are coming to Nigeria? Not just because they're coming for a church program, or they're coming to be part of the politics, or they have a business engagement, but they're just coming to explore the country.
There are people who come into Nigeria for...
Oh, of course there are, but how do we make it like the must-see place in the world?
Make your domestic industry appeal to them. When you go to Dubai, what are you enjoying in Dubai? It's domestic to Dubai, Kenya, South Africa, all those places. Now, what are the things that are mitigating against our domestic industry? Is it the corporate governance in terms of the taxation, multiple, the regulation, the legislature? What are the human capital requirements of tourism in 2024? Are they being met by both the public and the private sector?
Right.
Don't let me go into that sphere. But corporate governance, technology has come into so many industries that most industries are now tech. NTA is now a tech company in the broadcasting space. is different from the NTA of of the old day. It's changed. If you look at the infrastructure requirements of NTA today, sorry, I have to use you as an example, as you're questioning me. Look at the infrastructure requirements of NTA today. Look at this. Look at, where your office back in the day. Infrastructure. What infrastructure do I need? I need a tourism satellite account, which allows me to measure. I need the Presidential Council of Tourism to meet, and I need better funding. Then, if you look at every country in the world that has succeeded in tourism, look at the structure, the organogram of the command and control of tourism, number one. Look at the funding. I'll tell you something for nothing. If you sell a package, airline, hotel package to certain countries right and south of Nigeria, I don't want to mention any name, we're quite sensitive to them. The tourism board of those countries pay our Nigerian agents a bonus in hard currency for selling those holidays to Nigeria for you to export hard-earned petrodollars. And that's how intense and weaponized it is. And when you talk about funding, I know you always say that, Mr. Coker, you talk about funding. Funding is your reality. How much do they spend on engaging tourism, on engaging both domestic to them and international to them? Let me also say something. An international tourist is just the addition of an airline ticket. That airline ticket better be airpiece, or else it means nothing to me. It's another deduction of foreign exchange from my economy.
True.
That man comes in here with $10. What that he can do with that $10 here is another value he's extracting from me.
Right.
I don't know what, I don't know how the exchange rates are reached. I don't know what the relationship between your concept of the dollar and my concept of the naira is, but I know the value you get when you bring that $1 in. How much of that dollar is coming in? What is the quantum?
Okay. So we're going to take another feature, but before that, I just want to quickly ask you this question because of what you said. Again, I'm going to go back to Crush Rock that you mentioned earlier. When we started hearing about that place, so we're going to go there for a picnic, my friends and I, but one major challenge was security. We had these boys come out from everywhere, they threaten you, they're going to take this from you if you don't settle them, if you don't do this. There were like different sets like that until you get to where you're going eventually. That's just Crush Rock. There's so many other places like that you have to battle with stuff like that. So I want to talk about security. How do you, in the work of promoting the beauty of Nigeria, how do you assure tourists that there is security in them wanting to see the beauty of where you're promoting?
I wish I could ask you to answer that question. First of all, in life, there are no guarantees. Okay? The American government cannot guarantee anybody's life as an absolute in any location within America. There's no country that does not have security issues.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay? Ours is just amplified to a particular level that it so demarcates Nigeria. I find it ridiculous.
Is it?
Yes. Nigeria is not the murder capital of the world.
Oh, of course.
Nigeria is not the rape capital of the world. Neither is it the 419 capital of the world. But the way they demarcate us, it makes us seem that we're crazy. I'm not denying the fact that, yes, there are these hoodlums and these boys, who are always trying to play a fast one. Go to the streets of Bombay, Calcutta, some areas in New York, some areas in London, you will find them. That is the reality of our today. What can we do about them?
True.
We can secure some tourist locations better. I did a series of concerts in Lagos, which has a pretty disproportionate amount of the kind of people that you're talking about. And one of the things I did, I engaged them.
Okay.
I gave them T-shirts, I branded them, I gave them yellow visibility jackets, I got them parking cars, washing cars, guarding cars, running errands around the place, picking up garbage.
You engage them to be the security of that environment.
Who best to be the security of a car park where parts are being stolen than the people who are going to steal it?
True. Oh, that's brilliant. True.
There is no one solution to a lot of our problems in Nigeria. You have to bring an unorthodox basket of tools to engineer a solution. That's why when people compare Nigeria to Ghana and how they've grown their tourism, no, our tourism is, the tourism of Lagos State is the tourism of Ghana.
Okay. So we're going to quickly take a feature. We're going to quickly take a feature. This we titled "The Downside of Tourism." When we come back, we'll get to, discuss that, and you'll correct us if they're actually facts or maybe just myths. So let's watch it and we'll be right back.
While tourism can bring significant benefits to a city like Abuja, there are also potential downsides and challenges that need to be managed carefully. 1. Environmental impact. Increased tourism can lead to overuse and degradation of natural resources, including parks, wildlife, and water bodies. High level of waste, air pollution, and noise pollution can result from increased tourist activities and transportation. 2. Cultural erosion. Over-commercialization of cultural sites and traditions can lead to the loss of authenticity and cultural heritage. Traditional practices and cultural expressions can be altered or staged to cater to tourists, leading to a loss of genuine cultural experience. 3. Social issues. High tourist numbers can lead to overcrowding in popular areas, affecting the quality of life for local residents. Tourism can drive up the cost of goods, services, and real estate, making it harder for local residents to afford basic necessities. 4. Economic dependency. Tourism can create economic dependency, with local economies suffering during off-peak seasons. Events such as pandemics, economic downturns, or political instability can drastically reduce tourist numbers and impact the local economy. 5. Infrastructure strain. The increased demand for infrastructure and services like roads, public transportation, and water supply can strain existing facilities and resources. High tourist traffic can lead to wear and tear of infrastructure, increasing maintenance costs for the city. To reduce these downsides, it is essential for city planners and stakeholders to implement sustainable tourism practices, enforce regulations, and engage with local communities to ensure that tourism development is balanced and beneficial for all.
Thank you so much for that feature, Semben. And I still have the Director General of Nigeria Tourism Development Authority in the studio, Chief Florence Koka. So I want to talk about, you mentioned it earlier when you talked about the Judeoba that brought about the stees. Okay, so besides Ojudeoba, there are other things. There's the Ofala Festival from the southeast. There is Agungu from the north. There are several other festivals like that that are very peculiar to Nigeria and have also brought international tourists to our shore. So I want to talk about how we can use, because I don't know how much of it, I've never traveled, besides attending an Ofala festival. I mean, the Ojudeoba this year was so big that it got the attention of almost everybody. So I have never attended any of those besides the Ofala festival down east, because I'm from the east. So how do we play our local culture and traditions into growing the tourism sector?
Thank you. Before I start, I've been to quite a few of them: Agungu, Ofala, New Yam, Ojudeoba, and
maybe I'll get to attend the Ojudeoba next year.
Definitely. They are a serious, focused projection of the strong cultural identity of, if it's the Igbos or the Yorubas or the Hausas, that you don't find that kind of intensity in a lot of Africa. Now, this also has to do with our numbers. Never forget that we're 200 million plus people. With the soft power of Nigeria, when we make noise about something positive, like Ojude Oba, like the Steve, it grabs global attention. Now, it's more of that we need. How do we get Ofala to be better organized, better secured, better entertained, better curated, in a manner that it's like going to watch a football match in Chelsea Stadium. It's the provision of services, even the way it is captured. You cannot expect to carry a conversation onto the digital platforms of social media using a telephone. You need something that will capture it in 4K. You need somebody that will edit it in a manner that it speaks to the audience and continues the conversation. That continued conversation is what now calls into play, will I fund it next year? Was it strong enough? Does it have a strong enough digital footprint for me to know that, okay, I own Malta, and I think I would like Malta to associate with this. Okay. That is how it transfers. So it's not by accident. And with Tour Nigeria, we have been to all these places. You've been to our digital handles. You've seen what we curate. I mean, there's a Tour Nigeria advert for Lagos. If you listen to the music, I don't want to mention who gave us that music, but it's the same person that gives music, that produces the music for our Afrobeats stars. If you look at who captured the video and the mood, the style of the video, it is appealing to that broad section of our demography that this is what is good in Nigeria. Okay.
So I want to take a few messages now. So I have this question. Good afternoon. I love this program because tourism is my hobby, but most places I love, but the best place I love to visit is the game reserve. Okay, that's not a question. So I have a question. It says, good day. I feel the NTDA is not exploring tourism potentials of our country. It seems like no enough tourism agencies will sort tourism packages locally and make them affordable for us to explore. This is by Bando. So
tourism, government has no business in business. Okay. The tourism is a private sector driven entity that we regulate, we encourage, we promote. We have a National Travel Bureau within NTDC. If you want us to create an experience for you, we can create an experience for you, but we'll be competing with the private sector entities that are in EFTAN that rely on us to help them make the market grow. Please, I recommend you send a DM to our Tour Nigeria. We will curate whatever you want to curate for you. But understand, it's a private sector-driven ecosystem. Okay. Hotels, airlines, entertainment and hospitality.
Also, I think it's very clear now. It's not about just holding NTD accountable for not making it public enough. There is a private sector, the EFTAN that you mentioned, whose responsibility is to do that.
No, let me explain what EFTAN is.
Or you work along with
We work with EFTAN. Okay. EFTAN is the Federation of Tourism Associations. So EFTAN is the association of all the associations. Right. And we have a relationship with them. Okay. There's ANJED tourism writers, there's NATOP, the tour operators, there's NANTA, the travel agents. They all put it out there. They're all very digitally connected, putting their goods and services out there. Just Google where to go, 10 best places to go in Nigeria. Okay. It will tell you, and you will automatically below see the people who are ready to sell that to you.
Okay, so I have another question. Good afternoon. Sure. Thank you for this program. DG, sir, you need to tell us what tourism is doing in Nigeria and how can these places be accessed for the benefit of Nigerians and the global world. I think that's part of what you said, but you can go ahead and still answer them.
Tourism is a private sector driven business. Ask and you shall receive information See, we were raised with pen and paper. A lot of tourism was pen and paper. People need to shift their thinking to understand that this is a tech-driven world. Whatever you want, ask those machines. We are also, I can't give you a phone call or bring a pamphlet to your house and say this is what is available. If you query me digitally, the resources we have will answer you immediately. And so with all the EFTAN components as well.
Okay, so let me take a few more messages. This is from Jay. Jay says, Nigeria is so beautiful. One of the best places I want to go to is Obudu Cattle Ranch. I've heard about it a lot, but I've never been there. Okay, Jay, I hope one day you get to go to Obudu. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I have been. I drove 9 hours from Abuja to Obudu. Incredible place. Obudu is a cattle, is Obudu Cattle Ranch and Resort. I went to the resort. It's got a farm, it's got a cattle farm, it's got a hydro electric power generation system, it's got a cable car. You will, the only place I've experienced that kind of temperature is Jos. It's a beautiful place. Rolling hills, very friendly people. The place may be a little dated, but I believe that there is a program to update it to 2024 standard. Please don't leave that dream. Go to Obudu.
I've always wanted to go to Ikogosi. That's in Ekiti State. One day I'll get to go there.
That's been revamped. You should go.
Okay, so I'll take a few more messages. Nigeria is so beautiful. This is from Amaka, by the way. Nigeria is so beautiful, and they constantly make us feel like if you don't visit places in Nigeria, you do not know Nigeria. I don't even know where to pick from, but one day I hope I begin my exploring experience. Okay, that's a good one. This is also from None, but he or she says, you're making me feel like I don't even know my country anymore. Nigeria is so beautiful. I totally agree. I totally agree with you as well. Another message. Even if I want to travel, where's the money to travel in this economy? Okay, how about you start with the city where you live in? I mean, we've mentioned so many places that are around the country, but how about you start with the city where you live in? That's also tourism, right?
Correct.
That's also tourism,
Correct.
Okay. So I want to go to Lagos. I've heard about the Whistling Palms, and I want to see what it looks like. Okay, that's amazing. I want to go to the Ushafa. Okay, this message is incomplete, but I believe it's a pottery here in Abuja.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then another message says, have you been to, this is Malik. Malik says, have you been to the Nikkei Art Gallery? Or you need to go see how beautiful it is. Now, I have been there. I love what they did with the new place along the airport road. That's a very beautiful place.
I'm going tomorrow. I think there's an event there tomorrow. But I know Madame Nikkei personally, and I have known her since I was in Lagos. I bought art from her. I know her gallery there. Madame Nikkei's Art Gallery is a contemporary gallery of arts for sale in Abuja. It's a tourist destination. There should be more of it. There should be more nearer to the hotels in the city.
I've been there. It's very beautiful. Yeah. It's very big, and I became a little child because I didn't even know where to go to around the place. It's a very beautiful place, and I got to see firsthand how they make the tie and dye.
Yeah,
that was very interesting for me. Yeah. So before we go, there are so many messages. We can't read all of them, but I want to quickly ask. There is a rise in what I like to call the Afrobeat tourism. You've mentioned them: music, movies, food. You even talked about us not using our stadiums enough for concert like this. But how can we make it work? I mean, our music, we already know is doing so well outside the country. Our movies, Nigeria is about the second largest movie producing nation in the world. But how do we capitalize it for tourism?
Give it a home.
How do you give it a home?
Give it where it can stand proud. Museums like Madame Nikkei has given art a home. Maybe even give it a school. Give it some support. Do you know how fortunate we are for the growth of Afrobeat? It just grew organically.
Right.
Boom. The world took it. Afrobeat now, we can't afford it. You have to buy it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever it is. The same thing with our film. How many film schools or international standard recording studios are here
Nigeria.
for us to warrant the level of success we have had? We need to give it a home. We need to give it a comfortable space to grow within our own territory. That way, the benefits accrue to us, not that it goes. Look at film, look at music. We have to seek validation for the quality and the success of our own music outside the country.
Okay. Chief Coker, time is fast spent. I mean, time goes so fast when you're having fun. We have to go. But in 10 seconds, tell me your favorite tourist spot in Nigeria. It could be anywhere. Your favorite. And why? 10 seconds.
I like Iata Island in Calabar.
Okay.
I like Ilashe Peninsula in Lagos. I like number 13 Okonlawon Street in Surulere, where there's a place called 8 to 10.
Right. I haven't even heard of all these places.
Beautiful culinary experience. Is an Abula spot.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chief Florisha Coker, for being on the Medley Show today and educating us. I mean, you've helped us to see how beautiful our country is. I hope we get to do this another time.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being part of the Medley Show today. We'll be back next week with something very, very interesting. I'm sure you'll be part of it. Until I see you again, my name is Tochi Puta. You take care. Bye for now.
The Medley